The exploration of Black history accessible, inspiring, and informative. Join us as we share insights from our travels, celebrate our history, and foster a deeper understanding of our collective identity. With Sankofa experiences, every destination is a step closer to home. Let's explore together. Welcome to Travel Talks. Let's explore together and welcome to Travel Talks, right? So as I mentioned, every week, there's always a lot going on here at Urban Intellectuals. As a company, we do a lot, right? And I guess over time, you'll start to understand the breadth of the organization and all of the different pots that we are cooking with, right? As the youngsters say, right? Yeah, I've been here before. All right, appreciate you, Mr. Sidney. Thank you for joining us. But what's going on this week? Tonight, unlocking your family's ultimate legacy, wealth, heritage, and unity. We're having that discussion tonight. If you have an opportunity to join us, click the link. Sister Ashley is going to drop the link down in the comments. You can register for this event. It's absolutely free. We're going to have a discussion about legacy building, right? This is one of the conversations that we've been having around here at Urban Intellectuals and speaking with our community about what is needed. So we are solution-based and solution-oriented. So we decided to step in and assist with this discussion. So make sure that you jump in tonight to discover a proven formula to build generational wealth, preserve heritage, and strengthen family bonds in just a few minutes a day. That's intriguing, right? Hopefully, grandma don't have to get you if you haven't been to our Sunday dinners, right? It's like the best kept secret inside of Urban Intellectuals. We meet on the Zoom platform like we're doing here today to have discussions around the community, right? The family, right? So you remember going to grandma's house when you were younger, every Sunday with the family, meeting up with the cousins, sitting at the ankles of the elders in the family and discussing the issues, not only in the family, but in the community as well. We're recreating that in Sunday dinners, right? So it's Ashley's going to drop that link down there as well. And I'll drop these links for YouTube. I did get it working over here. Yeah, so I'm going to invite you out to Sunday dinner. We have some great conversations. It starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday, right? So if you click that link and register, we'll see you there. I want to talk about, I bring to your attention, right, our Sankofa Speak series. This is our podcast, right? So we've moved into that space, and I'm just trying to make space for interviewing some of the phenomenal brains and minds and people that's in our network and bringing their genius to you and in front of you so that you can engage and learn, right? So conversations that awaken and empower. You can just follow us on YouTube. You'll catch most of those there. If you're a Sankofa Circle member or a Legacy Building member, you'll have a direct invitation to be at those interviews. Most of them just going to happen on the Zoom platform as well, right? So we are leveraging the technology so that we can have these one-on-one discussions that we need in our community. As if that's not enough, how about some more, right? So we got going on this Saturday, we are doing America's Nightmares. This is your sign to return home to Africa, right? To engage the continent. So it's going to be a great discussion there. You can click the link in the comments below and register for those. Again, we always got something going on here at Urban Intellectuals, reaching out and trying to empower and educate our community. So make sure that you join us Saturday for America's Nightmare. You're signed to return home to Africa, right? So it's going to be a good discussion there. Something popped in my mind and I lost it that quick that I didn't have on the sheet, but it'll come up later. There's a lot going on, but we definitely want to make sure that we're empowering our community. I'm often talking about our history angle and the things that we're doing, but this is really an empowerment organization. And we're looking to take our resources and take our connections and make sure that we're pouring into you, your family, and our community as a whole. But today I want to have a really deep discussion about experiencing the footsteps of the past, right? Experiencing our Black history firsthand. This is a travel show, right? So we're talking about travel to the continent and beyond. But to set that up and kind of frame that discussion, got a question from you. So from 1618 to 1790, how many slave ships do you think left the coast of Africa heading to the Americas, right? Not just America is not just the United States. So we're talking about North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean islands. How many of these ships do you think left that coast? Oh, Ashley, can you drop down the time for Saturday? I believe it's 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just noticed we didn't put that up there. Um, so if you could drop that in the comments for me, Ashley, thank you. But okay, I see 1 million as one of the answers. Anybody else? How many slave ships do you think left the west coast of Africa, right? So you drop that down. Have a little bit of fun with me on that one. Of course, we don't know the exact numbers, um, and you might be off a little bit, right? Okay, 200. That's a good guess. 1,000, Vanessa. Appreciate that. All right, so interesting question. Something that I never really thought about until we saw this. Check this out. It's a real disturbing visual representation of the movement of the cargo, right? Which is it is mind-boggling to think that there are individuals that think of people as cargo, but there's estimated over 31,000 ships were involved in this back and forth of the as they try to spin the conversation as the triangular slave trade, but as someone said on the shores of Africa, there was no real trade, right? This was a genocide. That's what was happening with the theft of the human assets that have were human trafficked. I'd like to try to start bringing that into the conversation, human trafficking. Somehow, this word slave trade has become so we're almost desensitized to it, right? It's almost like y'all president, that's what I say, as y'all president Trump is just doing so many egregious and ignorant things on a consistent basis. In the last couple of days we are becoming desensitized to a lot of the mess that he's on. But we get to talking about the slave trade ad nauseum, and we starting to not humanize the individuals that were involved, not humanizing the families that were ripped apart, not humanizing the contributions that they were not only doing to giving to Mother Africa, right, but here in the Americas and throughout all of them, right, as well. So, really interesting stuff here, but just something to think about as we kind of go through this conversation today. So, the slave trip routes between 1618 and 1790, millions of Africans were taken from the continent. That's putting it lightly, right? How many millions lie at the bottom of those oceans, right? That were thrown off, that didn't survive the trade, didn't survive the ride, and they're just throwing them into the oceans to be shark bait and all of that gets all of that terrible stuff. Shouldn't say that. But there are two key points of departure that we travel to specifically, and later this year, we'll actually go to a third, which is Nigeria. For the first time, we're headed there. But Ghana and Senegal. So we'll talk a little bit about Cape Coast and Elmina Dungeons and Goree Island, the House of Slaves, right? Eerie experiences, but it's something that I believe everyone should put on their calendar and kind of have that experience. We got to go back and embrace it. I'll try not to ruin my little video I got coming up. But this was here in Ghana. This is the first time that I was there at the dungeons. I've been multiple times now, but this was with my father. He's 87 years young. In this photograph, this was 2017, and we were experiencing the dungeons there, right? So you get to go inside the holding cells where thousands were imprisoned before shipping out, spending almost anywhere from 1 to 3 months in these dungeons, right? In these facilities that doesn't have running water or plumbing or adequate air or lighting, and you really get the experience when you get there. Um, but Elmina Castle is the first European trading post in sub-Saharan Africa, right? It was built by the Portuguese. I believe the year is 1481, and it is a monumental structure. It is big. I'm gonna show some pictures and some videos and try to give you a little bit of insight of the scope of this, but it is really sickening to experience. But I think it's an important one. I'm talking about it a little bit in a moment. But it's a really emotional experience, right? You really got to prepare yourself because that energy of the ancestors is there. You can feel it. It is palpable when you're walking through there. So there are a lot of tears, there are a lot of emotions that flow through us while we're having these experiences. But many visitors say this visit forever changes their perspective on history and identity and the strength and the passion of the ancestors. Here are a couple of pictures from it that I we could be here all day, right? Just talking about the dungeons there in Ghana. So I just tried to grab a couple of them that kind of emphasize what you would experience, right? So in the top left corner, that's us there inside. This is the women's dungeon, one of the women's dungeons there in one of the castles, and you can kind of see the people are getting a lecture from the gentleman here in the front. He's a very good lecturer, and the level of detail, is haunting. It really, really is. But that in the middle at the top, that hatch is a hatch that they call, I believe they called him the governor of the castle of the dungeon, would look down over the women and select who he wanted to bring to his his bed, right? This is a conversation that never, I ain't gonna say never, but we often don't talk about the physical, not only just the physical abuse, but the mental abuse of being repeatedly raped and literally nothing that our women could do about it. But he would select one from there. They'll bring them up, wash them up, and then take them up those stairs that you see in the on the back, right? Until on the top right there, um up to his room there in the dungeon. And I mean, it's just like every time you think you can't get any worse, right? But it absolutely does. And it just lets you know about I call them psychopaths, the psychopathic behavior of that you would have to involve people in something like this, right? Oh, I did too much. There we go. Okay, yeah, and then like there goes some pictures again at the bottom. Okay, on the bottom on the left, that's the door no return. That's one of them there. The really slim and skinny one that is done for a purpose, right? And the purpose is so that they can get an accurate head count of how many individuals was passing through those doors to headed to those floating cemeteries, headed to those boats that are outside on the water, right? Because this is the Atlantic Ocean for my those into geography, right? You're right there on the Atlantic Ocean. And you see the picture at the bottom right, a bottom in the middle, and the bottom on the right. I was trying to give you a sense of the size of these dungeons. They are absolutely large and huge, right? But here's a quick video. I believe you should see a video about the experience. Okay, don't worry about the sound, but this is walking into the male dungeon there. I believe this was in November. I was just there in November going down, getting some more footage. But it's hot, muggy, and the experience is just something else. Of course, them lights wouldn't be there. Um, and they do make a moment where they turn the lights off so you can like have the whole experience. Just a little bit, right? Just a little bit for you. I think I got a little bit more of another portion of it. I believe this should be walking into, I think they call it the room of no return, where you go. actually walking up to the door. Yeah.
All right, so we are exiting the male dungeon and then going into the door of no return. They call this the room of no return. And then we're coming up on the actual door. As you see here. They said that the ocean used to come up to this very point right here, and the boats couldn't dock, so they would have to use the wooden boats to see them out further. But the sea, the ocean has descended, so now you see some land spaces. That's what you have to experience when you come.
Some of the language that video is low. The things that I was saying was one, the door is skinny like that again, so that only one person can exit at a time. So there's someone sitting there counting the cargo as they're going out to be placed on the larger ships. But they say that the waters has rescinded, so the water used to actually come up to the building up until that point. But there still wasn't, it was too shallow for the big boats that actually took the voyage across the Atlantic. So they had smaller boats that they would get on and then taxi them out to the larger boats as well. It's just eerie being there, right? I know it's probably eerie seeing it, but I promise you that it is quite an experience for you to be there. Let me continue with my content here because going on to Senegal, right? So there, again, that was there in Ghana, but there in Senegal, we have a similar unfortunate experience, but it's a little bit different because this was Gorée Island. So they call it the Gorée Island and the House of the Slaves, right? But this is literally an island that they occupied in order to commit the evils of this psychopathic behavior of shipping people, human trafficking people throughout the world, and then taking advantage and exploiting them as well. But it is something else, right? To experience, and it's just something that you got to put on your list, right? But Gorée Island is one of the most well-preserved sites of the transatlantic slave trade. So this is, again, the House of Slaves, a place where men and women and children were held before their journey into the unknown, the door of no return. Again, that halting reminder, taking steps, taking their last steps on African soil. But it's well preserved because this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But people actually live on this island. I think what's interesting about Gorée Island is the people are still living there. There are about 2,000 occupants on this island. And from my understanding from our tour guide there, we were there in May. I was there in May of 2024, having that experience, but they live there rent-free, right? So they don't have to pay for this area. Of course, everybody wants to live on that island, but there's no more building, there's no more expansion, there's no more anything there. They are just preserving the history and taking care of it. And like, what's wild, I was like trying to go through, we got so much pictures and video, right? Trying to get through this pictures and video, but it's eerie because the island is beautiful. So when you have to take a ferry, I got some video of the ferry ride over there or whatever. And it's really tough because it is absolutely gorgeous, right? And you got these cobblestone roads, you got all this Portuguese influence in the architecture, the painting, the bright colors, they got flowers that are blooming. It is a beautiful scene. And then you make that turn and you go into the House of the Slaves, right? And then it's just like, it's just the juxtaposition of that is like mind-boggling in this era. And I just always wonder, I just always wonder how psychopathic you got to be to try to beautify an area where you are stealing people, enslaving them, murdering, killing them, raping them, and just worse, right? And that thought always haunts me, and it's always something that I think about, particularly when we are there, right? Here's a couple of those experiences. I wonder how is this going to play? Yeah. So this is the boat ride or the ferry ride that we're on. All these people are on the tour with us. But we're leaving Dakar, going into Gorée Island. It's about a 30-minute ride. Again, a beautiful scene. playing those instruments. I don't think I put the classic on. He's actually one of our guides, Mika, there in Senegal. Does a great job giving us the history and culture. But they're amazing with those instruments, right? Like the brother took a phone call in the middle of playing, and was just playing with one hand and got back on the phone and just rolled right back into what they were singing. So I thought that was a beautiful experience. But this is us getting off the dock, getting off the boat, walking the dock, right? So you can get a little sense of the island. I didn't share too much video. The next one I got is when I get to the end of this, and then we start walking down the cobblestone roads and headed to see. We explored the entire island, right? There's a lot going on there, and it's like I said, it's what's really, really tough is just how beautiful it is. So you can see the cobblestone. I should have showed more video when we're going through the actual houses, so you can see the Portuguese architecture there. But like everything is in bloom. You're just like, man, this is great. And then, you get hit with the reality of where you really are and what is really transpiring. Because this is us going into, again, they call it the House of Slaves. It wasn't as big and as large as the dungeons there in Ghana, but from my understanding, their transition of getting people in and out was a lot faster. Right. So the turnover, right? The turnover of the people was a lot faster than what was happening in Ghana. But that's just a little bit inside. I think this should be the door no return again down there. And they're like dungeons on the left, on the right. There's dungeons all throughout this place, right? And then like the living quarters are above those dungeons. That is like a something that the psychopaths did that consistently up and down the coast of Africa. You'll notice a lot of that as we go into those different dungeons. We have a pretty special experience here. I left that out of the presentation, or left that out of the show. You got to come on to Senegal with us, and you have an opportunity to see that. Oh yeah, Kalenda say I'll be in Senegal in May. You're gonna love the experience. But yeah, all of these places is more than just history. This is really like a spiritual journey of reconnection. You will learn a lot, but you will really be reconnected with the essence and the energy of the people that endured a literal hell on earth. So the Ghana's Year of Return initiative really sparked the global reconnection, right? It started a great conversation and bringing many of the travelers back to be in these buildings, right? But it brings healing and understanding and even pride in understanding that the DNA that you have, the DNA that you come from, has endured something that would have crushed most people. And I think that it puts a level of responsibility on our backs as well. That's how I like to see it, right? Because if my people can survive that, then whatever it is that we are going through as a community or as a people, we know it pales in comparison to the difficulties of these moments, right? Here's a little bit from Slave River here in Ghana. Got the note that y'all not hearing the actual words of what I'm saying, but I'm explaining what this leg of the journey is. So what you're actually looking at is, they call it Slave River. And this is the place of the last bath. If you've ever seen those images where the ancestors are, linked together by hand, by chained together by the hands and chained together by their feet, and they're walking in straight lines. This is like what is happening there. So we have an experience where we recreate that walk without the chains, right? And we reconnect with the experience, but they will walk them to this particular river. And this is the location of the last bath. So it would be that place where they would take the last bath, and then they're transported into the dungeons there in West Africa, or West Ghana, Cape Coast and Elmina dungeons that we talked about. But this is a really powerful place. It's a really powerful experience. People talk about the energy that's there. Yeah, this brings tears to my eyes, Kalanda. I'm telling you, when you're there, it is something special to be a part of. And I mean, the tour guides and the historians there do an amazing job of really painting a picture of what you're experiencing, what you're doing, and how you're literally walking in the footsteps of the ancestors, right? That have endured, again, I call it hell on earth, right? But if you haven't, it's your turn, right? It's your turn to experience this journey for yourself. So we always make ourselves available to remind you, right, that we have regular tours going to Africa and beyond throughout the year, right? So if you can walk in their footsteps when you join us as well. So we always want to make that offer, give you an opportunity to experience the history firsthand with guides and meaningful experiences with our group travel that we call Sankofa experiences. Again, to go back and get our history, culture, and knowledge and bring that forward collectively into our future. But if you decide to go with us, right, on any of our trips, they are just $199 down to lock in your spot to sit in your location. Depending on the time, then it'll be a monthly payment plan leading up to your trip, or you can drop the whole thing if you like. But we take trips to a variety of places. I'll take a quick Q&A. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I'll bring up our list so you can actually see the dates. But if you go to sankofaexperiences.com, there you go. Oh, there you go. Ashley's ahead of me, right? She dropped the travel calendar down. I'll bring this over here and I can bring it up on the screen. But you can see our dates. We got 2025 and 2026 dates available. You can just raise your Zoom hand if you have any direct questions for me. I'll address some that I got inboxed to me in just a moment. But here is 2025, right? So South Africa is coming up here in like about 20 days, less than 20 days. Then Ethiopia, I'll be on that particular trip in middle of March. Then after that, we're going into Morocco. Then you see Senegal and the Gambia in May. Someone in the comments say they were going, Kalanda's going into Senegal and the Gambia in May. Tanzania and Zanzibar in June. Ghana in August. Brazil, September, Ivory Coast, and Nigeria in late September. I'll be on both of those trips. Ethiopia, Egypt, South Africa, and then a couple of Ghanas, right? We're going to do Ghana, New Year's in Ghana. I'm looking forward to that. I haven't spent New Year's on the continent yet, so I am definitely looking forward to that one. And then here's our 2026 trips. We've released those as well. So we're starting off with Ghana, Egypt. You see South Africa. We got Ghana, Egypt, Ghana, right? A lot of those, South Africa. And then there's some other dates that we're going to weave in here as well, but they're just not up there yet to the other locations. So we're still working out some of those details. But again, that link is there, sankofaexperiences.com/travel calendar, so that you can see all of the dates and you can slow down and make a decision on which that you might be interested in. Will you be on the trip to South Africa in November? November of this year? I may. I just haven't committed to that one just yet. But Vanessa, when I'm there, I'm a tourist like you. I'm enjoying the stuff, right? But I'm really get a chance to engage and bond. But our team in South Africa will be there. And they'll be your hosts, they'll be your guides, they'll be your local historians, they'll be the experts on the area. Yeah, so you'll definitely be in good hands. But yeah, when I'm around, like we just have a really good time engaging and connecting. I get a chance to connect with the community. So I definitely enjoy being on the trips because I love to see the experience from your eyes, right? I love to see the experience from from your perspective. How is it impacting you? How are you enjoying it? So I'm usually there on some recon, right? Trying to make sure that all of our experiences are not only up to par, but they're frankly they're great experiences, right? This is an investment of your time and your hard-earned money. So we just want to make sure that we are delivering. And so far we have been, right? But yeah, okay. Are you coming to I haven't decided yet on going to the Senegal. I'm just trying to decide how long am I gonna be in the continent, right? So I always got to like watch myself because the team is listening. But I'll be going, I know I'll be in London for an event in April, and I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna hop the water and go down in the Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is where I have dual citizenship, so I want to go home for that experience, and then I want to be in Ghana in May. My birthday is early part of May, so I just haven't figured out how long I'm gonna stay. But if I'm there on the continent, we got a trip going on, then I'll just come over to Senegal and at least see everybody, right? And I love Senegalese food. I don't know how long y'all been following me, but man, I fell in love with it on that trip. So, sister, get ready, get ready, boy. They are definitely gonna light you up with some amazing foods. And the West African seasoning is just delicious, right? But Senegalese and the Wolof people really put some special foods together, and they are the originators of the Jollof Rice Wars, right? Like, so I didn't figure that out until I got there. And they're really proud of that. So and you want to try the domada, right? So if you can remember that, try domada. But they call jollof Chibodin. Chibo is Chibodin, but it starts with a TH, right? Like, I don't know. Don't get me lying about the language and the inflections, but it is all delicious. I can tell you that. And hopefully Mika is your guide. You absolutely love the brother. He was the one that was playing the instruments. But he has, if you on some of the shopping days, if you're like, oh, I don't really want to shop, I want to like, where do you eat? Right. Right. I like to go to the places where they go and eat, right? So you get off the path a little bit, and the brother took me over, man. We went into this spot. It was like in the back of somebody's house or something. I don't know. It was delicious though. So I don't know. I am like all in on Senegalese food. Now we gonna have to do a whole show around Freddie's love of African food now. And I can't say like I was really big on it. I don't know. Like I just didn't have that much of an experience with it. But now I'm trying to get any and all that I can. So I'm really excited to get to Ethiopia so I can get some authentic Ethiopian food for the first time there. So that's going to be great. But okay, y'all have any other questions for me, right? Before we get up out of here, I'll be trying to keep these as short as I can. But y'all, if y'all been around, you know I'll be running my mouth, and and I love to share this information and have this connection with our community. But I'll give you a few moments. Um, yeah, if you have anything, let me know. I do want you to know, like when you decide to sign up, it's not the last time you hear from us, right? We'll be in contact with you. Send you the steps of the things that you need to do, how to handle your visa process, how you know, if you don't have your passport, what things that you should do with that. Encouraging you to get um, cancel anytime insurance with medical, right? With medical, that is the very important word because if something happens, it's likely that your US based insurance is not going to cover you over there. And when you travel to these countries, you have to pay cash, right? Like before they're going to do anything, right? And of course, you know they're going to run the prices up. This is why we encourage everybody to get travel insurance with medical, which reminds me, um, Ashley, I need to renew my annual travel insurance, right? I didn't do that. Getting ready to go on a trip and create do the same, do the faux pas that I'm trying to keep y'all not to, right? So I want to make sure that I get mine in place as well. I'm excited about my trip to South Africa in 2025. Yeah, Vanessa, that's gonna be great. Make sure you're taking a lot of pictures, right? Take a lot of pictures and video, and make sure you tag us and share. Let us know about the experience. I think it's gonna be a beautiful one. It's definitely eye-opening, but it's nothing like reconnecting with the people directly. As I said, we do a lot here at Urban Intellectuals, but this is probably one of my favorite sections of the company because of the exposure that it brings to our community. We've been dreaming about reconnecting with Africa. We've been dreaming about reconnecting with our roots. So it's just great to be a piece of the puzzle to bring some of you back home or to have go and have that experience and to humanize the continent, right? I think that is another thing that you will get from these trips is like somebody just be lying, right? There's a lot of lying about who we are, how they treat us, how they think about us. And when you get over there and you start to realize that their educational system was co-opted as well, right? So we just tend to think that from our perspective, somebody else is giving us an education, but that's what happened over there too. Those people weren't directly enslaved in the same manner that we were, but they were conquered and dominated, and the educational system, the resources, and the government and everything was taken over. And then a foreign agenda happened to every single one of those countries, right? Except Ethiopia, which was never conquered, by the way, which is interesting. But Europeans educated them. And you know what they taught them? Nothing about you, right? Just how we are in foggy about what exactly did the those Africans on the continent go through. They have no idea about what we went through either. Like they don't understand. Many of them and it's just like us. If you don't go out of your way to educate yourself and figure out what has transpired on the continent, you will never know because they lying about everything that happens. So over there, from their perspective, it's the same thing. Unless they go out of their way to thoroughly understand the African American experience, they will never know. And I just saw a video. I'm gonna have to do a piece on this. But I just saw a video of some Africans talking about how the regular everyday African does not understand the African American plight. They don't know about Jim Crow. They don't know about, the black codes. They don't know about the civil rights march and movement. When they come over here, they don't understand why you're not just thriving because the perception is there's all this opportunity in America and Africans in America, right over here, have all this opportunity, but for some reason they just not taking advantage of it. And then now they got the negative propaganda that our women are promiscuous, our fathers are absent, we ain't nothing but violent thugs, criminals, drug dealers, and really the problem over here. So not understanding the history, being propagandized by the media and their educational system, when they get over here, they're told to don't not engage us, right? And like it the scales on the system falls down when you go over there and start to experience and realize, oh my God, like they've been lying to us about who they are. They've been lying to them about who we are. Somebody's in the middle pitting us against one another. Right. So I love these trips because we first of all, we get all of that out of the way. And then we're able to sit down and have dialogue and conversation. And we get to learn about one another. And you get to learn and you think, oh man, they really don't hate us. And they think, oh man, these people really are educated, involved, cultural, interested, coming home. Like it's like we need to come together, right? So I love these trips because I think that it is fostering a sense of that because even when you go, the rest of your family might not go with you. But when you go and you take your pictures and you share your videos and you come back talking about the conversation, it opens up their eyes because people literally think Africa is one big jungle and it ain't nothing going on there but some wars, between some tribal stuff that we don't understand. You have no idea what it is because unless you're paying attention, unless you're really dialing in and you're trying to figure it out, you know, this system ain't never about to tell us. So anyway, before I dive into like a history lesson or something, let me try to make sure I wrap this up. But if you have any questions, you can drop it down in the comments. If you think about it later, you can shoot an email to support at sankofaexperiences.com. That's support at sankofaexperiences.com. And more than likely, Sister Ashley will be the one that will follow up with you. So you can definitely make sure that you take advantage of that. All right. If I don't have any questions, I definitely appreciate y'all spending the it's not the afternoon, right? Yeah, afternoon. There we go. Spending the afternoon. I'm in Chicago, so it's still the morning here, but spending some time with me here at Travel Talk. So I want to thank Sister Ashley for assisting putting everything together here and always being on top of the work that we need. So I appreciate you, sister. But thank you everybody for being here. Let me hit you with my outro video. And as I always say, until next time, love, peace, and power to the people. Greetings, I'm Freddie Taylor, CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals, and we are behind the Sankofa Experiences. This is where Black history travel made easy is not just our mantra, it's a promise. Our mission? To reconnect you with your roots, your culture, and the history of the African diaspora, now spanning across 10 African nations and the vibrant cultures of Colombia and Brazil. The Sankofa Experiences is expanding. We've crafted curated group travel experiences that do more than just visit. They immerse, they educate, they transform. From the historic forts of Ghana to the bustling markets of Nigeria, the serene beaches of the Gambia to the rugged mountains of Morocco, and beyond even South Africa and South America, each destination holds a special place and part of our story. Embarking on these Sankofa journeys means more than just exploring more landscapes. It means walking in the footsteps of the ancestors, embracing the diversity of our heritage and seeing the world through a lens of understanding and appreciation. It's a group experience where every traveler is a thread in the fabric of the shared narrative, making the journey safe, engaging, and unforgettable. So are you ready to embark on this adventure? To explore, to learn, to celebrate the legacy that connects us all. Join us in the Sankofa Experiences, proudly powered by Urban Intellectuals. The only thing missing is you. I always love that. The only thing missing is you. So when you're ready to take that journey and come with us, let us know, sankofaexperiences.com. But we'll take good care of you and link you into this global African family, right? As we start to get ready to solve our own issues. Oh, before I go, Ashley, can you drop the Saturday link one more time? Make sure you come out Saturday. You are going to enjoy the conversation. And, you know, it's Black History Month. It's Black Empowerment Year, all year, every year here at Urban Intellectuals. But we're going to have a pretty good conversation. And I got a good lecture for y'all to open up this discussion. So looking forward to that. America's Nightmares, this year's sign to return home to Africa. And I love this part of the discussion. I promise I'm gonna get out of here. I'm just looking at the time. I love this part of the discussion because it's not necessarily about you going home and moving to the continent of Africa. It's more important that you go and reconnect and get comfortable so that your family, your future, your the people in your circle can start to create a way into the continent. Africa has always been the jewel of the world and nothing has changed, right? The only thing that changed is we don't seem to understand that everyone is trying to get into the continent and the global economic growth of what's happening in Africa is going to be stunning over the next 20 to 30 years. I don't even know if it's going to take that long, but Africa is industrializing. I keep saying this, but 30 to 35 million Americans went through the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s and it made them a world superpower. Africa is going to have anywhere from 350 to 500 million people moving from poverty into the middle class. It's a lot bigger location, a bigger place, but it also has all of the world's resources as well. I don't think that we're really paying attention to the shift that's coming. So I want to be involved in it. I'm just going to be blunt. I want to be involved. I want my family to be involved. I want my grandchildren to be involved. So I want to go start laying the foundation or laying the groundwork for just that, but not only for my family and my people, but for you. So anyway, I'm going to be quiet and when we go get into the rest of this day, hopefully I'll see you tonight. At our legacy discussion. But if not, hopefully Saturday. It's always a lot going on. Just check your emails. I appreciate y'all for being here. Till next time, I'm Freddie Taylor, CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals. We make it fun and easy to learn Black history. But until next time, love, peace, and power to the people. Take care, everybody.